So have you ever been swimming and felt something brush by you? Yeah, that's nightmare fuel. Forsyth County is located in Georgia. At one point, Cherokee people lived there, but during the Trail of Tears, they were forced out of the region and pushed west. Later, other groups moved into the area. Eventually, they formed a town called Oscarville. Oscarville was a prosperous majority-black agricultural town in Forsyth County, Georgia, that was established in the late 1800s during Reconstruction. Many of its residents were former slaves. In 1912, a white woman named May Crow was killed, and white mobs blamed 3 black men for the crime. Accusations were basically a death sentence, and the mobs used Crow's death as a reason to lynch one man, execute 2 others, and displaced more than 1,000 black residents from Forsyth County. During this period of mob violence, they burned up churches and businesses, terrorizing the residents and chasing them out of the county. If you look at history, Oscarville wasn't the first or the last to experience this sort of violence. Similar racialized mob violence took place in Wilmington, North Carolina, Rosewood, Florida, and in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where black residents were attacked, murdered, and/or driven out of their homes. Even decades later, Forsyth County had a reputation for being unwelcoming to black people, and only in the last 30 or 40 years have things begun to change.
All new at 5:30, we are taking a closer look at an all-black town in Georgia called Oscarville.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about this on social media for the last few years, and if you haven't heard of it, it's probably because it no longer exists. It's buried under Lake Lanier. 11 Alive's Latasha Gibbons has more.
When we started working on this story, we set out to track down descendants of Oscarville. Weeks later, we found a family who could trace back their roots 4 generations. They shared with us stories that were handed down about what the all-black town was like, including the night that led to its destruction. It was set on fire by night riders after they say a white woman was raped. Then later, it was covered by the body of water we now know as Lake Lanier. May Crow is buried here at this Gainesville cemetery, but the trail of destruction following her death stretches into the land surrounding Forsyth County, buried beneath these waves of Lake Lanier, where in 1912 nearly every black resident was forced out. That includes people living in an old black town called Oscarville. The community was formed in the late 1800s during the Reconstruction era.
There was a very strong community feeling among the blacks. About 300 children that went to some of the schools that were the black schools, and it was closely connected to the churches.
Georgia history teacher Lisa Crosby says Oscarville was a thriving black community, full of carpenters, blacksmiths, and bricklayers, but farming was the top trade.
So they really had kind of a miraculous farming growth here while the rest of the state was really struggling.
But then residents were abruptly forced off their land.
So the flashpoint, I think, is 1912.
This takes us back to the death of May Crow. The 19-year-old white woman was found dead in the woods near Oscarville, presumably after being raped.
Typically, the answer to white girls being raped was go to the black community and just start blaming people.
By nightfall, terror began to reign over Oscarville.
So from there, the rage and hatred in the community, mobs got together and they were called night riders, and they were riding throughout Oscarville and driving out the black community.
And the night turned deadly. You know, they were waking up by fires outside, firebombs thrown in the church.
Filmmaker Bob Mackey recaptures those horrific nights in an upcoming television series.
Anytime anything happened, guess where everyone would go? To the church. Well, they attacked the church. People were hung, lynched.
Mackey's series features stories of direct descendants like George Rucker, who can trace his family back 4 generations to Oscarville. He tells the story of his great-grandfather, Bert Oliver, and the entire family being forced off their land.
Night riders came through. They had to leave everything. The main thing they left was property, and my grandfather had 100 acres.
Rucker says many relatives died as they tried to flee.
So when they got to the Chattahoochee River, from what I understand, they were told, when the mob got up on the bridge, they were told that they either had to swim or drown. Most of them didn't make it. My grandfather, one of them that did make it, he lost some brothers and sisters.
He says his relatives who survived settled in Gainesville.
From what my mother told me, buried all of them, he would sit and tell her this story, and he would just sit and cry.
Crosby says whites in the area took over the remaining properties.
Okay, so that's all about Oscarville. Where did Lake Lanier come from? In the 1950s, a reservoir was created by flooding the town of Oscarville. Well, the remnants of the town anyway. Yep, you heard that right. Underneath the water, there is an entire town with homes, roads, bridges, trees, a cemetery. It's easy to see why Lake Lanier has the reputation of being haunted. The lake has a submerged ghost town in it. It sounds like the setup for a great horror novel. Over the last 70 years, it is estimated that over 700 people have died in the lake. 233 of those deaths occurred in the last few decades. And yes, anytime there's water, there is the chance of drowning. But some of these deaths are odd. There are, of course, several ghost stories surrounding the lake. Some residents blame curses, others blame the vengeful spirits of people who have died there. Locals have described the Lady of the Lake, who wears a blue dress and has no hands. The story goes that she grabs unsuspecting visitors to the lake and drags them underneath the water to drown. According to the legend, she has no hands, but apparently she doesn't let that stop her from grabbing people. Just goes to show you, never give up on your dream.
Since then, 700 deaths have been reported, ranging from drownings to boating accidents and freak accidents. Those who have nearly drowned claimed they were sucked into the waters. Visitors over the years have encountered the ghosts of departed souls who have lost their lives tragically in the lake. It is believed the land buried under the lake, including the remnants of the Oscarville Cemetery, have left Lake Lanier cursed.
So someone just died in Lake Lanier. It seems to be that there's more under the surface, or people believe there is at least.
Like a little mix of truth with just human reaction to being scared about mysterious things going on.
Where do we start?
It's not like a real lake. It's a reservoir. And the thing's 15 businesses and as many as 20 cemeteries. And they claim that they dug up and moved all the cemeteries, but there are like experienced divers who will go down there and see like just headstones like in the bottom of this lake.
Why everyone thinks Lake Lanier is so haunted. Is it spirited by the spirits of the citizens of Oscarville? Or is it just a lot of debris under this water and people just get so caught up when they're swimming that they get, their shorts attached, their foot might get tangled in, and it's just all these coincidental deaths.
These ghost stories have sparked a lot of interest in the lake. Do the scary stories and spooky backstory deter visitors? Nope. It's actually a beautiful lake, and over 10 million people visit every year. It actually holds the title as one of the most visited lakes operated by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Some people say that with this many people visiting the lake every year, there are bound to be mysterious deaths. No ghosts necessary. And some stories have deeper layers. For example, there was one young man who jumped into the water and drowned, even with a life jacket. But looking deeper into the story, it was said that the life jacket wasn't fully secure, and it floated off of him, and then he drowned. So what do you think? Do you think most of these deaths are explainable, or do you think there's something deeper at work? Is Lake Lanier haunted? Would you swim there? If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And join me next time as I discover the world through its most interesting stories.